Starting off with number 10, we have Lindsay Lohan and Zac Efron. This is one I'm honestly not even sure that I believe, but hey, you know, they're both teen idols, so I'm sure stranger things have happened. So apparently this rumor started when a sex list came out, showing all the people that Lohan had slept with. And people are pretty sure that the list is accurate because someone who was at the Beverly Hills Hotel claims that they heard Lohan and her friends creating the list. And it wasn't just Zac Efron on the list, there was Evan Peters, James Franco, and even Justin Timberlake. But Zac Efron's name seemed to get the biggest reaction out of people. And since I don't think they've ever dated, it's pretty clear that this would have been a one-night stand type of situation. The story got so big that he was even approached by a paparazzi on the subject. And he was point blank asked about the list when he was getting into a car. And when the paparazzi asked, he just gave a confused look and got out of there as soon as humanly possible. Which I think we can all agree points to yes. Like, he would have just denied it if it wasn't true, right? Like, I wouldn't just be avoiding it. And I have a link to the video here.
Up next, number 9 is Megan Fox and Robert Pattinson. They would make a really hot couple, I'm just saying, and I'm a little disappointed with how this story ends. The story goes that Megan was on a break with her then boyfriend, and now ex-husband, Brian Austin Green, when she hooked up with Robert, who was a single man at the time. But the hookup was just a one-time thing, even though rumor has it that Megan wanted it to be more. The world got some details on their one-night fling after a source who worked on Megan's film Jennifer's Body told E! News what happened. The source said, Megan was totally into Rob and thought he was really cute, but nothing ever went further than that one night they were together. He totally blew her off. Blew off Megan Fox? Like, am I hearing this right? I don't even understand that. There was even some rumors going around at the time that the two of them were dating, and he told British magazine Heat that he was embarrassed by the rumors. I wouldn't even be embarrassed if you started saying I hooked up with Megan Fox.
In at number 8, Ashton Kutcher and Rihanna. Shortly after Ashton Kutcher had divorced from Demi Moore in 2012, there were reports that Rihanna showed up to Ashton's house late at night for a bouteille call. There was even a picture of her SUV showing up to his house at about midnight and not leaving until 4 a.m. And since cheating is what split up him and Demi, people started to speculate if the one-night fling could have been happening for weeks or even months. After some time, it was revealed that they had an 8-week fling while he was recently single, and apparently Rihanna was so smitten with Ashton that she was planning to join his Kabbalah group.
Sliding into spot number 7 is Courtney Love and Kate Moss. I know, I am just as shocked as you are. Fans were dying to know who Courtney was talking about when she went on the Howard Stern show and started talking about a spicy hookup with a hot supermodel. At first, she wouldn't say who it was, and for years, people were dying for confirmation after rumors of who it could be started surfacing. She talked about the hot supermodel and spilled the details about a hot night they had together in Italy. She said, "She pretty much chased me around the room, literally like she was the aggressor. I thought to myself, you know what, if you're gonna do it with that one." It wasn't until an interview later on when she was asked who the model was, and then she admitted that it was Kate Moss. She went on to say that Kate doesn't care if she reveals it because it is a great story for her grandchildren someday.
And at number 6, Kristen Bell and Matthew Morrison. This is another pretty unlikely couple, but these two actually hooked up before both of them got famous in college. Apparently they spent some time together when they were both studying at NYU, with her straight up admitting to the hookup. At the premiere of You Again, she told Us Weekly, quote, "I actually went to college with Maddie Morrison. We actually dated very briefly. So I'll have to say maybe Matt Morrison is my favorite part of Glee for various reasons." So based on that reaction, I think it's safe to say that they had, you know, a good time together and are still friendly, so I mean, that's good to hear.
We've made it halfway through the list, and we have Justin Timberlake and Fergie. The singer appeared on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen and played one of his talk show games called Plead the Fifth. She was asked 5 different questions, but she can only plead the 5th to one of them. Since rumors have always gone around about her hooking up with Justin, Andy Cohen obviously asked her about it, hoping to get some explanation. At first, she asked if she could plead the 5th, but then she answered saying that they were just a fling. One of my good friends was dating JC, so we'd all hang out with NSYNC. Justin and I would go out together and have fun and make out. We went to Hawaii together, but we were never serious. He was Mr. Right Now. She also confirmed the timeline and said that he was 16 and she was 23 when it happened, and it was before he got all hot and heavy with Britney Spears. That age gap is so weird. She was 23 and he was 16. I'ma just let that.
And at number 4, Kim Kardashian and Nick Cannon. After her breakup from Ray J, Kim Kardashian and Nick Cannon briefly got together. Apparently the two hooked up, and after the fact they debated whether the two were gonna get in a relationship or not, with the major concern of Nick's being her infamous sex tape. And after he learned that the sex tape was a real thing, he quickly dumped her, with Cannon revealing later that Kim actually lied to him about it. And when he asked her about it, she claimed that it didn't exist. But it was very clear it existed when Vivid released the tape shortly after, with Nick saying in an interview, quote, "If she might have been honest with me, I might have tried to hold her down and be like, that was before me, because she's a great girl. She's actually one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. But the fact that she lied and told me that there was no tape," even adding later in the interview, quote, "and I still think she might have even had a part with its release." And ouch, that is some serious shade if you ask me.
In the third spot is Cher and Tom Cruise. It was in June 2013 when Cher revealed to the world that she and Tom had a spicy little fling back in 1987. She was on Watch What Happens Live when she talked about it and had nothing but positive things to say. During the interview, she was asked to rank her lovers, and Tom was one of the ones on her list. She responded by saying he was in the top 5. It's not a long list, but a good list. But she went on to say that even outside the bedroom, he was still a great, lovable guy. People have talked about their hookup for years, and maybe that's because Cher has dished about it in multiple interviews. She actually admitted that it could have been a serious relationship if it were up to her, because it wasn't just a physical thing for her. In 2008, she told Oprah, I quote, "It could have been a great big romance because I was crazy for him." To think about what could have been if Tom and Cher had gotten together or married even, or had kids.
And number 2, Selena Gomez and Niall Horan. So Selena and Niall sparked dating rumors after they were seen together multiple times in the span of a week or so. It started when they were seen at Jenna Dewan Tatum's birthday party, and they were seen making out and dancing together practically all night. And the rumors picked up steam further when they were seen at the Santa Monica Pier the next night. But even though they were seen together for a brief time, the both of them shut down the dating rumors years later, with Niall speaking to SiriusXM about Selena, saying, quote, "We're friends, we have the same group of friends, we hang out all the time. The one photo that was ever taken got posted. We are good friends." Then Selena also denied the rumors in an interview with ET Online, saying when asked if they were dating, quote, "Oh my god, no," adding, "I love him, I always have, he's amazing." So I don't know about this one, but I mean, come on, like something must have happened. They were making out all night at a party, then the Santa Monica Pier, which is like very romantic if you ask me, so I'm sure something went down.
In our number 1 spot is Mel B and Geri Halliwell, also known as Scary Spice and Ginger Spice. For years, rumors have persisted that the two of them had a lesbian fling back in their day, but the rumors were always left unresolved. Even during interviews when each of them have spoken about it, the other one denied that it happened and it was really awkward, so a lot of questions were left unanswered. That was until Mel B confirmed that they did have a sexual fling during the height of their fame in the 90s. In 2019, Mel B went on Piers Morgan's TV show Life Stories and said that they were best friends and that it just happened. Piers asked her if they were in love during their fling, and Mel insisted that it was just friendship. Her revealing their one-night stand actually caused a lot of controversy because Geri lives a very posh lifestyle now, as she called it. Geri personally did not speak on the actual fling, but she did say that the story coming out was very damaging to her family and that she was very upset by it. Kicking off our countdown at number 1 is Mel B and Zac Efron. Now, I know she was on our part 1 list, but it is not my fault that she has some juicy hookups under her belt. Literally. It was in 2018 when we found out the shocking news that Mel B hooked up with the High School Musical star. She was 43 at the time and he was 30, and the hookup happened after she split from her husband Stephen Belafonte. Turns out they started talking on a dating app and exchanged flirty text messages. What I would do to see those screenshots. Mel does not hide the hookup, but she doesn't exactly flaunt it either. One of her friends does though. They spoke with the son and said he ended up driving over to her pad. They hit it off and spent a few enjoyable hours together. It wasn't exactly a meeting of the minds. Neither saw it as long term, but there was chemistry there. Mel thought Zac had an amazing body, don't we all? Zac has admitted to being on Tinder in the past and said that no one swiped him because they thought his profile was fake.
In at number 9, Russell Brand and Courtney Love. Honestly, this one isn't like too shocking to me. I feel like both these two people can be pretty, promiscuous, so it's kind of only a matter of time that they would find each other, right? I feel like they're a really good match. Like, I like to see it. According to the Mirror, just days after Russell Brand had slept with 3 fans in one night, him and Courtney Love hooked up at a hotel in London. Apparently, she told a friend, quote, "He was delicious." However, a few years after that rumor came out, Courtney Love came on record denying that she ever hooked up with Brand, saying that the two were once hanging out, and Russell Brand said, quote, "I've had a lot of grand conversations, darling, but none of them have ever ended with an orgasm. Can we go to your room?" Which is bold, but also I guess it's Russell Brand, right? If anyone's gonna be that bold, like it's gonna be him. Then Courtney apparently shut him down, replying, quote, "You're too musky for me, man," adding that they had just gone to yoga and that's why she was saying that he was musky. But Courtney took nothing but good vibes from the situation and continued, quote, "I do think he is a national treasure. God, I wish I was as good as him. He flirts with men openly too." So I guess the jury is still out on this one, but there's clearly some, interest, I guess.
Up next, number 8 is Mickey Rourke and Evan Rachel Wood. This one is still a huge debate, and the two of them were not happy when rumors were going around about their hookup back in 2009. But the rumors didn't just come out of nowhere. They came after paparazzi caught them on a night out together where they were dancing, and his hands were around her waist, and they even kissed. Witnesses who saw them that night said they did look like they were more than friends, and that she seemed really happy. People were making a very big deal about it because they were co-stars in The Wrestler. He was cast as her father. He was 60 years old at the time and she was 25, so of course people were gonna talk about it. It also came at a time when she had ended things with Marilyn Manson. But they deny the rumors, and Evan actively told sources to spread the word that they are just friends. So I will let you guys be the judge of this one, but I don't kiss friends.
And at number 7, Mario Lopez and Britney Spears. Back when Mario Lopez and Britney were in their heydays, they were both incredibly eligible bachelors, so I can definitely see why they got together. The truth came out in Mario Lopez's memoir called Just Between Us. In the book, he wrote of how he hooked up with a, quote, mega pop star while he was in Vegas, but he was too much of a gentleman at that point to kiss and tell. But a few years later, after some pestering, he did reveal the person in question was none other than the fabulous Britney Spears. In an interview with Ellen, Lopez said, quote, "I'm trying not to give too much away without giving too much away. It was maybe 6 or 7 years ago, 8 years ago." He also revealed that him and this pop star were still very friendly, and that is definitely true because Mario joined Britney on stage at the opening night of her Las Vegas residency. So honestly, with an opening like that, I would think that they're still very fond of each other.
Rolling into number 6 is Christina Applegate and Brad Pitt. The actress spilled the tea about their little fling that a lot of people didn't even know happened. Turns out when it happened back in 1988, he was not the A-list actor that he is now, and she had no problem breaking his little heart. At the time, she was well known for her role on Married with Children. She explained their fling and said they got together by having mutual friends, and she even admitted to how she broke things off. She talked about it and said, "We were just part of this group of people that hung out, and we decided to sort of cross the friend line. We went to the MTV Awards and I ditched him. I left with somebody else." Who was this somebody else? Because who was better than Brad Pitt?
Halfway, number 5, Madonna and Tupac. This is one that I truly would have never guessed, but since both of them were massive stars back when Tupac was alive, it makes sense that they would, run into each other. Actress Rosie Perez actually spilled the tea on how their relationship started, saying that Madonna actually begged Perez to help set them up, with Perez saying in an interview, quote, "I go to the bathroom, I bump into Madonna, and she goes, 'Girl, hook me up.' I was like, really? She goes, yeah, hook it up, please." Then she continued that she went back to her seat where Tupac was her date. And basically as soon as she told him, he was up and ready to find Madonna. But it quickly went from a one-night fling to a full-fledged 18-month relationship. And things ended somewhat badly, with Madonna getting a letter from Tupac breaking up with her. And we know the letter exists because it was actually sold to the highest bidder in an auction. Tupac cited race as the reason for the split, saying in the letter, "For you to be seen with a black man wouldn't in any way jeopardize your career. If anything, it would make you seem much more open and exciting. But for me, at least in my previous perception, I felt due to my image, I'd be letting down half the people who made me what I thought I was." And back on the hookup, apparently there's even a tape out there of them in the act, so let me guys know if you've heard of that. I've never heard of that before.
Coming into number 4 is Sharon Osbourne and Jay Leno. Back in 2013, Sharon was doing a new segment called Big Secret on The Talk and revealed that she had a fling with Jay Leno a very long time ago. She was very open about it and said she had just moved to America at the time time and didn't know many people. This was back in 1978. She dished on it and said that she had met her now husband Ozzy during that time, but that they were just friends. She met Jay when she went to a club with her friend who worked there because he was performing one of his comedy routines. So she ended up telling her friend that she liked him, and they prank called him later on. The prank call was actually the start of it all because they ended up just calling each other all the time, and they just really enjoyed each other's company. She said from there one thing led to another, and he came over to her house to meet her finally, and that is when their fling happened. But a couple months into their fling, Jay had eyes on someone else and actually introduced Sharon to his new girl that he really liked, and in the end she said that they all ended up being friends.
And at number 3, Chelsea Handler and 50 Cent. This is one that I would have been shocked about, but Chelsea brings it up so often that I've known about this hookup for years. When talking about their relationship, Chelsea said, "He was a very sweet, nice guy. I was sampling, kind of the atmosphere, seeing what was out there, and I was satiated." Which we can kind of imply as the hookup was good, but also she might not have wanted to do it again. Like, satiated is an interesting word, right? Apparently it all started when 50 went on Chelsea's show, but was incredibly late. And to make up for it, he sent her so many roses that he actually filled her office. So they ended up going out, and it was a full-fledged relationship, with Chelsea being shocked at how sweet that he was. But they sadly broke up after some time, and they still seem pretty fond of each other.
Taking over our second place is Paris Hilton and Val Kilmer. These two shocked everyone when pictures of them making out surfaced back in 2006. Apparently the photos were actually from 2002, but didn't get out until 4 years later. The pictures were from the time when Val was filming Wonderland, which Paris Hilton had a cameo in. The photographs show them getting very handsy with each other while making out, and they were randomly published in an Australian magazine. Weekly publication NW claimed that they had exclusively obtained the images, claiming they came from one of Paris Hilton's storage units in LA after she fell behind on payments. The hookup was so shocking because for years no one even knew that had happened. Val was 46 at the time in the photos and Paris was 25, and people only ever saw them as co-stars. Plus, Val hasn't always said kind things about Paris, so they weren't sure why they were making out. During an interview in 2005, Val actually criticized her in the media and said, "Paris Hilton is a great example. She's famous for nothing. It's what we are celebrating in my country, the nothingness of her fame." Well, you weren't saying that when your tongue was down her throat.
And finally at number 1, Janet Jackson and Matthew McConaughey. Janet Jackson hooking up with Matthew McConaughey is a rumor that has circulated in Hollywood for years. Apparently they briefly dated in 2002 after they met at the Grammys and hit it off. At the time, McConaughey passed the romance off as just a friendship, but later Jackson admitted to the brief fling before getting serious with producer Jamie Dupree. And to put the rumor to rest once and for all, Andy Cohen took the opportunity of Matthew McConaughey coming on his show to get the truth about the incident. When asked if him and Janet Jackson had ever dated, McConaughey confused everyone when he started laughing uncontrollably. For like a long time, for like 25 seconds, it was like, what? But after some confusion, he admitted that they did go out for dinner once, but that was about it. So yeah, interesting reaction, but I guess they went out.
At number 10, Rihanna and Travis Scott. Here's a celeb hookup that might surprise you because it certainly surprised me when I found out. Rihanna and Travis Scott reportedly dated back in 2015, though their relationship story is a little foggy and confusing since they never wanted anyone to find out about it in the first place. Everything was super hush-hush, so don't tell anybody I told you this. Basically, their friends with benefits / actual relationship took place about 6 years or so ago, and neither of them outright confirmed their relationship. When Travis was asked about Rihanna in an interview, he described her as being his muse and seemed to have had very passionate feelings for her, though he never chose to make these things public. He actually got incredibly upset when a magazine published details about him and Rihanna because they were told not to release those details, but they went against his wishes and they did it anyway. You'd think that with that sort of reaction, it was Travis who wanted to keep his fling on the DL, but it was actually Rihanna who wanted everything to be a secret because apparently she was embarrassed to be with him. The details as to who was the one who broke things off in the end remained a mystery, but we do know that things ended in 2016 shortly before Travis was linked to Kylie Jenner. At number 9, Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox. Looks like this celebrity fling was as juicy as it was on screen. After keeping this little hookup a secret for quite some time, Shia LaBeouf finally spilled the beans, so to speak, after revealing that he had a little romance with his Transformers co-star Megan Fox back in the day. In 2011, Shia revealed in an interview that he had a brief entanglement with the actress, saying that being on set and portraying two people in love caused their personal lives and work lives to become a little blurred. Shia was said to have been very protective of Meghan while they were together, even having an outburst in a convenience store and hopping behind the counter to have a physical confrontation with an employee who was allegedly rude to Meghan. To make things even juicier, this romance was apparently going on during the time that Meghan and Brian Austin Green were allegedly engaged, so this was quite the entanglement. Years later, Meghan said that she was in love with Shia at the time, confirming their brief fling. Before I carry on with the list, let me take a moment to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also check out my gaming channel Viper Girl if you're interested in watching some gameplay content with me. At number 8, Michael Cera and Aubrey Plaza. If you're a fan of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, then you're familiar with how the character Julie Powers isn't too fond of Scott Pilgrim. Well, it might come as a surprise to you to find out that the actors who portrayed Julie and Scott in the 2010 film are very different from their counterparts on screen, in the sense that they certainly don't hate each other, and they actually dated for some time around the release of the movie. Michael Cera and Aubrey Plaza met on the set of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and they ended up dating for about a year and a half. Things were pretty serious between them as they almost got married too. When Aubrey was a guest star on RuPaul's Drag Race back in 2016, she told Ru about her relationship with Michael, saying, quote, "We drove across the country after we shot that movie and almost got married in Vegas." Aubrey also opened up saying that she and Michael remain on good terms even though their romantic relationship didn't exactly work out. Their relationship remained pretty secret until after things were over between them, so we didn't really get to live through the Scott and Julie shipping like we would have liked to, but hey, they come and they go. At number 7, Janet Jackson and Matthew McConaughey. Alright, we've got another surprising celebrity hookup, this one including the man, the myth, the legend, Matthew McConaughey, and the amazing queen herself, Janet Jackson. Now, I had no idea that these two used to be an item, but it turns out that they were, but only for a very brief moment. These two decided to give their love a try back in the early 2000s, but they weren't compatible at all, and they only lasted about one date before pulling the plug on whatever fling was going on between them. The pair met back in February 2002 at the Grammy Awards and reportedly hit it off after that first encounter. They went on a date shortly afterwards, but as Matthew would later admit years later, things just fizzled out after that one date. They decided that they would just be friends, and that's where they left things. Both went on to have other relationships and never looked back, but it still makes for a very interesting secret celebrity hookup. At number 6, Chord Overstreet and Emma Watson. Now, there's not much information on this relationship because it was kept so private, but there's word that Chord Overstreet and Emma Watson were an item for a little while back in 2018. In early 2018, it was rumored that Chord and Emma were seeing each other, but when this news broke, their relationship was still fairly new and there wasn't much to say about it other than rumors and speculation. They were first spotted together at a concert in February of 2018, and then later at an Oscars viewing party the following month. Not long after the news of their apparent relationship broke, they were seen again holding hands, and this sort of sealed the deal for most people, though again, nothing was really confirmed. But then things seem to have just fizzled out and died as the reports came out saying that the two had broken up after 6 months of dating. Less than a month after that, they were seen together again, and there was speculation that they had gotten back together, but again, nothing was ever confirmed. Emma is known to try and keep her private life private, so that could be the reason why this relationship mostly flew under the radar, but it's still something surprising to note. At number 5, Rihanna and Ashton Kutcher. Here's the tea on this fling, so get your mugs ready. Apparently, Rihanna and Ashton had a little entanglement back in 2012 as the singer was spotted leaving the actor's house in the early hours of the morning back in March of that year. Sources suggested that the two had reportedly had a one-night stand, noting that the singer had arrived at the house around midnight that night and left around 4 a.m. This spotting of sorts confirmed some people's speculation that there was something going on between the two of them because this wasn't the first time they were seen getting close to one another. According to one source, they had been flirting with each other, texting, and meeting up in hotels. Other sources said that at the time, they were just two single people having fun and saying, quote, "Both of them love having a good time and think they're too busy for anything serious just yet." There was no definite end to this fling, and since it wasn't anything serious, it doesn't really matter, but it's still interesting to find out that these two Hollywood stars were so close at one point. At number 4 is Sharon Osbourne and Jay Leno. When you picture Sharon Osbourne, you can't really see her without her other half, Ozzy, but there was once a time before Ozzy came along and you won't believe who she dated. In 2013, Sharon admitted to having a quote, flingy-wingy with Jay Leno. Sharon revealed on an episode of The Talk that when she was 25, before she started seeing Ozzy, she had moved to America and was working at a place that was quote, full of men. One day she met a man who turned out to be Jay Leno, and Sharon and her friend decided to prank call him one evening. Well, this prank call ended up turning into a full-blown conversation and then a little bit more. Elaborating on the situation, Sharon said, quote, he came to my house and he met me and he had a little fling. And the fling was more a fling for me and not a fling enough for him. Because a couple months into it, he brought around his real love of his life for me to meet, and she was lovely, and they took me to Fatburger and they showed me around town. It was brief and Sharon went on to marry Ozzy anyway, but it's so fun to learn that these two celebrities had a fling. At number 3, Michele and Matthew Morrison. TV and Broadway actress Michele was known for having had a serious relationship with the late Corey Monteith, but it seems as though Corey wasn't the only Glee star that she was in a relationship with. In Leah's 2014 book, Brunette Ambition, she wrote about her experience on Glee, shooting the show's pilot, and revealing that before meeting the rest of the cast, she had already worked with Jenna Urshiewicz and Matthew Morrison on Broadway. And saying, quote, Matt had been a friend of mine for years, and in fact, we'd actually dated back in the day for a Broadway beat. During the filming of Glee, there were apparently some rumors saying that she and Matthew were getting a little romantic because they were so close, but she shut down those rumors saying that there was nothing romantic between them, and that they were just friends. There isn't really much information as to how long they dated and what made them end things. All we know is that it was very brief, so I guess you can just draw your own conclusions. At number 2, Johnny Depp and Jennifer Grey. All people can talk about in regards to Johnny Depp these days is his awful experience with Amber Heard and the drama surrounding that, but Amber obviously isn't the only one Johnny has been with. Johnny has also been linked to Vanessa Paradis, with whom he has 2 kids, and he was also married to Lori Ann Allison back in the 80s, and there are a number of other celebrities he's dated, but there's another star that the actor dated that not everyone knows about. Johnny Depp had a pretty serious relationship with actress Jennifer Grey back in the day. The two Hollywood stars only dated for about a year, but things were serious enough for Johnny to propose to Jennifer in 1989. They were set to get married the following year, but clearly that never happened. They really kept their relationship super secret, so there aren't many details about their fling other than the fact that it happened, but it's still something that not many people know about. I wonder what happened between them. And finally, at number 1, Tom Cruise and Cher. This next celebrity fling surprised me the most, so let me know if this one caught you by surprise as well. Back in the 80s, Tom Cruise and Cher were an item. I had no clue that they were ever together, but apparently it's true. Apparently Tom and Cher first met at Madonna and Sean Penn's wedding, and they sort of hit it off. Though there was a 16-year age gap between them, that didn't stop them from having a little fling. Cher reportedly told James Corden that Tom was one of her top 5 lovers, so clearly things were pretty good between them, right? The singer also told Oprah Winfrey that Tom could have been a quote, great big romance if they hadn't been forced to break things off due to their busy schedules. They're apparently still pretty good friends, and part of me wishes that I could have seen this romance between them because it sounds like it was something incredible.
Amanda Marie says Robert Pattinson might actually have brain damage. Embarrassed by Megan Fox? She should be embarrassed by him. I heard he doesn't shower.
That does not
He looks
shock
like he
me.
showers.
No, he does not look like he showers.
Oh.
I'm just getting very much Twilight vibes. I guess he looked good, but he looked like grungy, you know?
No.
Let us know below are you team shower or not? I'm team not.
He showers.
Then Tabitha Dearth says, is it just me or does Mackenzie remind anyone else of Anna Paquin of X-Men and True Blood?
Do you know who that is? Oh, you do. I can see
I gotta
it.
Google that.
Google it after.
Hope
You
it's a
do.
compliment, guys.
She's like, you're much younger.
Oh,
but
okay.
I get, like, she would look like your mom, like to a T.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I will check
look
that
it up
out.
now.
It better not be a diss, guys.
No, it's not. Duke of Norfolk says Joss and Mackenzie, the dynamic duo. Thank you, ladies. You're welcome.
You know, we're pretty good at this duo thing.
I love these things.
And Elvis says, okay, I'd never let go of Megan Fox. Like, never.
Who would? And Brad Pitt in this list.
Yeah.
How did you go home with someone else but you had Brad Pitt?
Like, I wish I had so much confidence in myself to be like, you know what, no, Megan Fox and or Brad Pitt, like, you're just not
just
it
gonna
for
pass.
me. Yeah, I can do better. Like, what?
I don't understand.
I can't live that life.